We begin not in a boardroom, but in the quiet, crushing realization that hits you late at night. You follow the rules. You've tracked the spreadsheets, optimized the debt, absorbed the self-help books until the spine's cracked. Yet, the deep, pervasive stress around money hasn't just lingered. It has metastasized into exhaustion. This isn't just about lacking funds. It's about the emotional depletion of trying. For years, you've chased formulas, strategies, and methods, the visible mechanics of wealth, but nothing truly stuck. It felt like you were perpetually running on a treadmill set to maximum incline, watching others glide past you on an adjacent moving walkway. There is a unique pain point shared by those who are intelligent, driven, and capable, yet perpetually held hostage by their bank balance. The soul feels starved. Your inner potential whispers that you are meant for something expansive, something that does involve daily financial anxiety. But accessing that greater reality feels like trying to find a secret door in a wall of concrete. You feel trapped between your ambition and a stubborn, unresponsive external world. This struggle creates a toxic blend of resentment and self-doubt. When you see others, maybe less seemingly organized, perhaps less obviously hustling, prosper with apparent ease, the internal dialogue sharpens into a painful, accusatory refrain. What do they possess that I am lacking? Why am I working twice as hard for half the result? This isn't jealousy. It's a deep psychological dissonance. You recognize that the scarcity you experience isn't just economic. It's vibrational. You are operating on a frequency of struggle, constantly battling the external manifestation of an internal war. You might have convinced yourself that they simply had better luck, or richer parents, or a strategic advantage you missed. But deep down, beneath the layers of rationalized effort, you suspect the truth is far more profound. Success operates by rules that you haven't mastered yet. It's not about the sheer volume of output. It's about the quality of the signal you are sending out. The real turning point, the beginning of true abundance, doesn't happen when you find a new investment vehicle or a better budget app. It happens when you stop fighting the material world and start decoding the energetic pattern behind it. Prosperity, you see, is not a reward handed out capriciously by destiny or luck for simply working hard enough. It is a natural consequence of attunement. It is a resonance. There exists a forgotten energy code, an alignment between your core identity, your persistent emotional state, and the resulting frequency you emit that completely reconfigures financial reality. This code is what separates the relentless strugglers from the effortless attractors. It has been obscured by centuries of focus on mechanics over mastery, on external effort over internal alignment. We are taught to manage our money, but never how to manage our relationship with it or our worthiness of it. In the journey we are about to take, we will understand how this code works, why traditional efforts often fail to access it, and most critically, how to activate your inner prosperity switch. We will move beyond the superficial symptoms of scarcity, the debt, the insufficient income, and target the root cause, the vibrational signature you carry. This is your chance to stop searching for strategies and start shifting your frequency. This is where we stop chasing wealth and start becoming the signal that attracts it. The code is real, and it is about to be revealed. The first step toward unlocking this frequency code is achieving radical awareness. The reason your financial efforts feel like pushing a heavy boulder up a slick hill is that you are unknowingly dragging hundreds of pounds of inherited baggage. Your relationship with money was formed long before you earned your first dollar, usually between the ages of 3 and 10, watching and internalizing the complex emotional dramas played out by the adults around you. Think back. Did you witness constant arguments about bills? Were phrases like, money is the root of all evil, we can't afford that? Or, you have to struggle to be worthy, frequent guests at your dinner table? These weren't just passing observations. They were the lines of code written directly onto your subconscious hard drive. These unconscious scripts are insidious because they protect you from perceived threat. If your childhood programming taught you that wealth attracts danger, loneliness, or moral corruption, your subconscious mind, in its earnest effort to keep you safe and loved, will subtly sabotage every opportunity for genuine abundance. It creates a ceiling, a financial comfort zone that is paradoxically uncomfortable, to keep you aligned with a familiar struggle. This is why you might earn a significant amount only to have an unexpected expense precisely match that amount, bringing you right back to zero. The universe isn't testing you. Your internal thermostat is simply reverting to its factory setting. This is the moment to get intensely honest about the programming you absorbed. Do you associate wealth with being a bad person, or perhaps associate struggle with being noble and humble? Do you believe that if you have more, someone else must have less, creating a zero-sum guilt that stops you from truly accepting prosperity? These patterns are not personal failings. They are learned defense mechanisms. Recognizing them is the essential first step in the transformation process, because you cannot rewrite a code you refuse to read. We must stop externalizing the problem, blaming the economy, the job market, or luck, and shine a focused light inward. Understand this. The current state of your bank account is merely a trailing indicator of the predominant emotional state and belief system you held 6 months ago. It is the echo of your past frequency. To change the echo, you must change the sound being made right now. Take a deep breath and acknowledge the ghost in the machine, the inherited narrative of scarcity that runs on autopilot. We are ready now to pull the plug on those outdated scripts. Now that we have identified the source of the vibrational conflict, the subconscious programming, it is time for deliberate, surgical reprogramming. This is where we break the financial myths that have bound you to low frequency. The most damaging myth is often the simplest: effort equals worth. We have been trained to believe that the greater the struggle, the greater the reward. This myth produces exhaustion, burnout, and often poverty. The truth is that prosperity flows where there is clarity, ease, and resonance, not just brute force. Replace that myth with this truth. My worth is inherent, and abundance flows easily through aligned action. Another common myth is a scarcity trap. The belief that resources are limited and there isn't enough for everyone, including you. This myth forces you to hold your breath financially, constricting the flow of both giving and receiving. We replace this with the abundance principle. The universe is infinitely expansive, and my capacity to generate and receive wealth is constantly growing. Perhaps the most crippling belief is the good person guilt, where you fear that financial success will change you for the worse or separate you from your community. This fear acts as an energetic repellent. We counter this with the generosity code. Wealth amplifies who I already am. Prosperity enables me to increase my impact and my capacity for generosity. These are not just nice words. These are deliberate energetic substitutions. Every time a limiting belief surfaces, I don't deserve this, it won't last, this is too complicated, you must actively intercept it and replace it with a new truth. This process is like changing the dial on a radio station. For years, your internal radio has been tuned to the static of scarcity. When you intentionally insert these truths, you're forcefully turning the dial toward the clear, expansive channel of abundance. This is neurological work. You are literally forging new pathways in your brain that connect money with safety, ease, and possibility, instead of fear, shame, and struggle. This practice of consistent belief interception is a key to elevating your financial frequency from a level of desperate striving to confident attraction. This consistent mental vigilance is non-negotiable if you wish to decode and harness the power of ease. Changing the internal code is necessary, but the frequency shift must be validated by deliberate action. We are not talking about complex investment strategies here. We are talking about small, potent shifts in daily habit that communicate to your subconscious and the universe that you are genuinely ready to operate at a higher level. The primary tool here is financial gratitude. Most people only focus gratitude on relationships, health, or personal achievements, but they recoil from feeling grateful for money, often because they feel there isn't enough. You must reverse this pattern. Start by finding gratitude for every dollar that passes through your hands. The money you have right now, the money that paid your light bill, the money that bought your coffee. When you pay a bill, do not feel dread. Feel empowerment. Thank the money for its service and bless its return multiplied. This seemingly simple act is profoundly powerful. It shifts your primary emotional relationship with currency from fear of loss to appreciation for flow. The next powerful action is frequency visualization, done not as fantasy, but as emotional rehearsal. Don't just visualize a large bank account number. Visualize the feeling of being financially secure. What does that confidence feel like in your chest? How does it change the way you interact with your family, your work, and your time? Practice feeling the certainty of abundance daily. This is not about manifestation. It is about calibrating your emotional set point so that the feeling of prosperity becomes normal, even before the external evidence arrives. Finally, integrate the honest inventory. Avoidance is scarcity's best friend. When you avoid checking your bank account or opening bills, you are sending a signal of fear and weakness. Mastery requires presence. Spend time with your money, checking balances and planning with calm authority, not panic. This practical engagement, stripped of emotional drama, solidifies your new identity as someone who is capable and in control. These micro-actions, gratitude, emotional rehearsal, and calm engagement, are the daily workouts for your prosperity muscle. They are the tangible proof to your unconscious mind that the new frequency is operational, stable, and ready to welcome greater flow. The true secret to lasting wealth transformation is identity alignment. You must stop trying to get money and start focusing on becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts and manages substantial resources. This is the ultimate level of coding. The shift from "I hope to be rich someday" to "I am a conduit for prosperity right now." This new identity is built upon 3 pillars: worthiness, purpose, and mastery. First, claim your inherent worthiness. Understand that your ability to generate wealth is independent of your current financial state. You are not earning your worth. You are simply allowing your worth to be expressed financially. This identity shift requires shedding the victim mentality, the narrative that life or circumstances are happening to you. Instead, you operate from a perspective that you are co-creating your reality. Second, integrate prosperity with purpose. Money ceases to be a selfish pursuit and becomes a tool for amplifying your unique contribution to the world. When your financial goals are inextricably linked to creating value, serving others, and solving meaningful problems, the flow becomes magnetic. The universe supports clear, impactful intention. When you define yourself as a generous creator, someone whose success benefits many, you remove the internal resistance and guilt associated with acquiring wealth. Third, embrace emotional mastery. Financial confidence is not the absence of risk, but the emotional maturity to handle both success and temporary setbacks with equanimity. A true wealth master does not panic when the market dips. They adjust. They do not hoard out of fear. They invest and circulate with confidence. This identity shift changes the way you negotiate, the way you spend, and the way you save. You are no longer reacting to fear. You are responding from a position of competence and abundance. By anchoring your identity in these principles, you move beyond mere hustling and step into financial self-mastery, recognizing that the external world is simply mirroring profound clarity and confidence of the new identity you now embody. We have traveled from the exhaustion of external struggle to the clarity of internal mastery. The final step is locking in this new frequency through persistent, intentional commitment and deep, final reprogramming. True financial transformation is not a quick fix. It is an evolution of consciousness. The old programming will inevitably attempt to resurface, particularly during moments of stress or significant financial change. Your commitment must be to maintain the elevated frequency regardless of temporary external indicators. This is where you finalize the installation of the abundance code. Take a moment now, close your eyes, and visualize a version of yourself who operates from this place of secure, easy abundance. See them making decisions, handling transactions, and planning their future. Notice the feeling of calm authority that permeates their life. This is not a distant aspiration. This is the activated version of you. To cement this reality, we engage in a final affirmation that integrates all 6 steps. I release the inherited burden of scarcity and shame. My worth is unconditional. I am aligned with the flow of effortless prosperity. I manage my resources with clarity and courage. My wealth serves my highest purpose and benefits the world. I am not struggling for success. I am resonating with abundance. Repeat this until feeling of it settles deep into your physical body, becoming an undeniable truth. Your commitment is to practice this emotional alignment daily. Do not wait for money to arrive to feel abundant. Feel abundant first, and the money will follow as a reflection of your state. The code has been revealed. It is the perfect alignment of self-worth, emotional clarity, and purposeful action, sustained by unwavering commitment. You now possess the blueprint for financial self-mastery. The years of striving are over. Your time of effortless attraction and sustained prosperity begins now. Go forth and demonstrate the power of your decoded abundance. The frequency is yours. Initial breakthroughs feel exhilarating, yet the real, arduous work of self-mastery lies not in the initial discovery of the code, but in the unwavering commitment to sustain that elevated frequency amidst the inevitable dissonance of external life. Now that you have accessed this powerful energetic pattern, we must fortify your internal operating system against regression. Imagine your consciousness as a perfectly calibrated, high-precision instrument, like a tuning fork. For decades, it vibrated at the low, rusty pitch of scarcity. You succeeded in changing that pitch to a clear, resonant tone of abundance. The critical task now is preventing entropy, ensuring that this tuning fork never loses its perfect vibrational time. There will inevitably be days, perhaps even weeks, when the sheer gravity of the past attempts to exert its pull. You might reach a significant financial milestone, a large bonus, a profitable sale, only to notice the subtle anxiety creep back in, prompting familiar corrosive thoughts. This can't possibly last, or I shall hold on to this out of fear of future lack. This sudden, internal backslide is not a failure. It is simply the natural inertia of deep-seated neural pathways trying to reactivate their familiar pattern. When this occurs, your key is not self-judgment, which only strengthens a negative loop, but rather the introduction of a gentle, yet conscious counterfrequency. This requires advanced self-supervision. Building on this necessity for resilience, you must institute a weekly emotional feedback loop audit. This practice involves mapping the precise lag time between an external financial event, whether positive or negative, and your immediate internal emotional response. For instance, if you receive a substantial payment and your primary response is instantly and not a worry about taxes or future expenses instead of clear, unadulterated joy, that gap reveals an active, underlying scarcity trigger. Conversely, if you face an unexpected large expense and maintain a state of calm assessment and solution-oriented thinking, you prove that the new prosperity code is now the dominant program. This disciplined, objective observation prevents the emotional drift that leads, subtly but surely, back to financial stagnation. Furthermore, true, sustained mastery involves recognizing that the future is not something you simply visualize linearly. It is something you must inhabit vibrationally in the present. Think of this as financial holography. Every financial decision you make today, from the integrity you bring to your business dealings to the expansive quality of thought you dedicate to your investment plan, creates an immediate, tangible shift in the holographic projection of your future reality. You are not passively waiting for abundance to materialize. You are actively, meticulously assembling conditions for abundance right here, in this moment, detail by emotional detail. This is the difference between hoping for wealth and becoming an active source of it. Moving beyond personal financial success, the ultimate and most profound expression of the decoded abundance is the achievement of a generational break. When you consistently maintain this high-frequency, emotionally integrated standard, you are doing more than just changing your own life. You are effectively rewriting the ingrained financial memory of your entire lineage. You are creating an entirely new blueprint, one defined by security, generosity, and ethical circulation, for every descendant who will follow. This accomplishment transcends mere account balances. It becomes a spiritual inheritance, ensuring that your children and grandchildren begin their lives from a baseline of inherent abundance and emotional ease, rather than having to climb out of financial and psychological debt of past scarcity cycles. You are the nexus point where the cycle terminates and a new legacy begins. To lock in this profound and ongoing commitment, adopt the daily practice of the declaration of intent. This is far more potent than passive affirmation. It is an active, vocal statement of your current energetic posture. Every morning, state clearly, "Today, I commit to operating solely from the frequency of effortless ease and creative flow. I refuse to entertain any thought that minimizes my capacity for wealth creation or limits my openness to receive." This constant, active self-supervision ensures that your internal tuning fork remains flawlessly aligned, making sustained, joyful prosperity the only viable outcome. This continuous commitment is the final, non-negotiable step in the journey of the financially self-mastered individual. He stood at the window, not staring at the skyline, but truly seeing it, a structure built not just of steel and glass, but of intention, confidence, and the sheer nerve of those who dare to operate on a higher plane of consciousness. The crippling tension that had once been a permanent resident in his chest, an invisible vice tightening with every passing deadline or unexpected bill, had finally dissolved. It hadn't dissolved through a sudden windfall. It evaporated because the internal architecture had been meticulously reconstructed brick by mental brick. The exhausting practice of chasing an external target had ceased. He realized now that the frantic output, the desperate striving, was nothing more than static interference, a self-inflicted resistance blocking the very current he sought to harness. The profound insight was that he wasn't navigating a world of random scarcity. He was simply encountering the trailing edge of his own fear-based frequency. Reflecting on this journey so far, a quiet recognition settled in. The most potent forces were not external levers pulled with frantic energy, but subtle, emotional calibrations achieved through persistent inner discipline. He felt the convergence of his newly claimed identity, that person of secure, easy competence, with the emerging reality that mirrored it. It was like tuning a radio to the perfect, resonant frequency. Before he was stuck between stations, hearing only white noise and fragments of fear. Now, the signal was crisp, clear, and powerful. This clarity wasn't about knowing how every opportunity would arrive, but maintaining an unshakable certainty that it would, precisely because his internal state had already made ample room for it. This was the moment the seeker transformed into the sovereign. He was no longer reacting to the tide. He was directing the currents within himself and witnessing, with detached fascination, how the outside world obediently arranged itself to match his unwavering expectation. This sense of inner ease, once unimaginable, revealed itself to be the true engine of abundance. The constant comparison and the underlying guilt that often shadows ambition had faded away, replaced by a simple, ethical clarity. His prosperity was inherently linked to the value he circulated. He understood that wealth, in its purest form, was merely feedback confirming quality and magnitude of his contribution. When he shifted his focus from the lack in his life to the limitless capacity to create and share, the entire equation flipped. He wasn't struggling to fill an empty cup. He was allowing a full, overflowing vessel to naturally circulate its abundance. The scarcity mentality, that ancestral curse that had shackled his family for generations, felt like a distant, irrelevant myth. He had achieved the generational break, not through heroic effort, but through intentional, vibrational integrity. We stand now at the threshold of synthesis, recognizing that the external world is nothing more than a magnificent, delayed echo of our deepest internal convictions. We have ceased the desperate search for external keys and instead forged the master code within. The strategies you once pursued seemed disconnected, but they were merely the scattered fragments of a cohesive whole. Now, those fragments have coalesced into an unassailable truth. Financial self-mastery is entirely a function of emotional sovereignty. This decoded reality means you never have to fall prey to market anxieties, fleeting trends, or the illusion of limitation again. You have established a foundation so robust, so inherently aligned to the principles of flow, that sustained prosperity becomes a path of least resistance. You are no longer preparing for abundance. You are embodying it. The stage is set for final, irreversible commitment. The integration of this decoded wisdom into every transaction, every decision, and every day of your new life as the architect of true financial freedom. The final, profound realization that settles upon the mind after decoding the architecture of abundance is this: the true work of wealth creation is the work of emotional integrity. We spent years chasing the shadow, the strategies, the metrics, the visible behaviors, only to discover that prosperity was an external reward for effort, but an inevitable consequence of vibrational alignment. This decoded understanding strips away the illusion of financial struggle as a personal failing, replacing it with the empowering truth that every perceived setback was simply the magnetic field of inherited fear and limiting belief asserting its dominance. The shift wasn't in accumulating more. It was in becoming an expanded, frictionless channel through which money could flow, serve, and multiply. This is the deeper, unspoken implication of the code. Your financial destiny is not dictated by global markets or economic volatility, but by the quiet, unwavering commitment you make to your own emotional sovereignty. The moment you choose to operate from the certainty of worthiness, you pull the rug out from under scarcity forever. You stop seeing money as a finite resource to be hoarded out of terror and begin to experience it as pure, kinetic energy, an active force that must circulate to maintain its vitality. The guilt, the shame, and the fear that once acted as the primary repellents of wealth are neutralized when you fuse your pursuit of prosperity with a clear, ethical purpose. When wealth is viewed as a tool for expanded impact, the universe doesn't resist. It conspires to ensure your coffers are full because your success benefits the collective. What has been unlocked is not a magic formula, but a return to fundamental natural law. Just as water flows effortlessly downhill, wealth flows effortlessly toward the point of least resistance. And that point of least resistance is a mind aligned with ease, gratitude, and expansive possibility. The tension that defined your former relationship with money, the perpetual fight against insufficient returns, was the sound of you attempting to force a high-frequency outcome while maintaining a low-frequency state. Now the battle is over. The striving has been replaced by attraction. The enduring challenge is not the initial shift, but the maintenance of this elevated frequency. Life will continue to present opportunities for regression, market corrections, unexpected crises, moments of deep uncertainty. The master of this code understands that these are not threats to the financial reality, but tests of the emotional reality. They are invitations to prove that the new code is dominant. When fear knocks, the sovereign wealth creator does not answer with panic. They respond with calm assessment and unwavering confidence, rooted in the secure knowledge that they possess the internal capacity to generate solutions, regardless of external conditions. Let this final insight permeate your understanding. You have moved beyond simply managing your money to mastering the energy that creates it. You are no longer merely a participant in the economy. You are a conductor of financial flow. Your success is now guaranteed, not by external luck, but by the impeccability of your internal alignment. Go forward, not with the exhaustion of the hustler, but with the quiet, magnetic confidence of the master. The code is yours. Integrate it, sustain it, and watch as your financial reality reorganizes itself completely around your newfound certainty. This is the enduring legacy of true abundance,